want any money plugged in right from the beginning.
Because his dad was the Pope.
Yeah, so right now it's still up here.
Jim's dad was the Pope.
Welcome everybody. If there's anybody here, you'll be able to see. And I'll go start the Twitter.
Maxime Bernier, who's the guy you came to hear. He didn't come to hear me. He's a much better speaker than me, too. As of right now, we have organized constituency associations in 13 out of 14 of the constituencies across Manitoba. We have 1,100 members of the party in Manitoba. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who helped us reach this point. Thank you to Victoria Neufeld, who helped me set up the meetings. Thank you to all the people who took the positions on the constituency executives. I've seen a whole bunch of you here tonight, and this wouldn't have worked if all of you hadn't been willing to take these positions and help us move forward to the next step. I want to thank my wife Angie and my daughters Eleanor and Isabel. They're over here. Who put up with me being away for most of the last month at all of these meetings that I've been going to. And thank you finally to Maxime Bernier, who is the guy with all the ideas for us to get behind. Without further ado, I present to you the guy you really came to hear, Maxime Bernier.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy to be here. It's a nice day. It was a big day. We did a lot of media today, and I had the same question. So, do you think your party will be successful? I said, you're welcome to see us tonight, and you'll see that a lot of people from Manitoba, they're ready for a change. And we are ready for a change, and I want to thank you for all you're doing to helping us to build this party. So that's great. And but the question that people are asking, why you are able to build a party in less than 3 months, we must admit that the Reform Party of Canada, a couple of years ago, it took them 3 years to build a Reform Party, and after 2 elections, didn't have candidates in every riding in Canada. So for us, yes, that is a big task, and we started that the September the 14th, and I'm very happy for us and what's happening, because what we can do a lot of things together. And like Bill just told you, we were able in 3 weeks to have more than 30,000 founding members all across the country. Thank you very much. And it is because of you that now we are able to build a riding association all across the country. And our goal is to have riding association up and ready before the end of this year. And today, I called the executive director of the party, Clinton DeVoe in Ottawa, and I asked him, okay, how many ridings do we have? He said, 239 ridings that are ready to go and to help us to find candidates. So we still need to have 100 ridings all across the country, and we have 3 weeks to do that, and we'll be able to achieve that. So after that, the next task and goal will be to find candidates, and I need you for that. I need the riding association, I need you, I need your help to be able to find good candidates that represent you in your region, in your riding, and we'll start that in January. From January to May, we will have time to have candidates in every riding. And that is important for us. It is important because we are a real national party. And I will give you an example about that. So some people were telling me that, oh, Maxime, you can build a party like the Reform Party was a regional party in the beginning, only in Western Canada. So you're coming from Quebec, and maybe you can build a party, the People's Party of Canada, but that will be only from Quebec. But that's not the reality. The reality is Quebec represents 22% of the Canadian population. And so the members of our party from Quebec represent 24% of our members. So I'll give you another example. In Ontario, Ontario represents 38% of the Canadian population, and our members from Ontario represent 36% of our members. So it's all the same everywhere. We are a real national party, except in Alberta. In Alberta, the Albertans represent 11% of the population, and our members from Alberta represent 16% of the population over there. So I think we are a real conservative party, and with a strong base in Alberta, but also a strong base all across the country. So, and this year, next year, that will be a big year for us, and we will be able to show to Canadians that with our ideas, our freedom ideas, people are ready for real change. And speaking about real ideas, we are able to do what we are doing right now because of our ideas. We don't want to do any compromise with what we believe. And our platform, as you know, is based on 4 key principles: individual freedom, personal responsibility, respect, and fairness. And I think people are coming with us because we are a principled political party. We don't try to please everybody. We know that you cannot, in politics, please everybody. And if you try to please everybody, you will end up when you try to please everybody, you will end up to have the support of less people because you won't have any convictions. And for us, convictions and principle, it is important. So that's why we are able to have people coming from different regions of this country, coming from different backgrounds. I was on the phone with a writing association it was in Newfoundland, and I was speaking with the new writing association elected. And so one of the guy on the writing association, I said, Maxime, I'm very pleased to help you. And I said, I voted NDP at the last election, but I never vote for the Conservative Party of Canada. So I said, what are you doing in our party? Yeah. And he said, Maxime, you know, because of your position on ending corporate welfare and because of your position of ending the cartel of supply management, I know that's a real policies that will help Canadians and poor Canadians in this country. And for me, that's very important. And that's why I want to fight with you to be sure that the People's Party in my riding, in my province, will be elected. So, and we have people also, I was in Gatineau, and I shake hands after and have photo with people, and a guy came to me, 25 years old, he said it will be the first time that I will vote at the provincial or federal elections. He said, I don't believe in politicians. You know, they're saying the same thing, and when they're elected, they forgot us. And so I don't believe, I didn't vote. But I will vote, and I'm a member of your party, because you're doing politics differently. And I think that's important. We are doing politics differently. We're not afraid to tackle the real issues that need to be tackled, need to be debated in this country. We're not afraid to speak about equalization. You know, I'm the only politician in Canada who speak about the equalization formula. It is not fair. It is not fair for provinces who receive the money because, you know, there's no incentive for them to have a better economy or a better free market economy. There's no incentive for them to develop their own natural resources. So I'm not afraid to say that, and we need to change the equalization formula. We need to have a formula that would be fair for everybody. So, but I'm the only one. The others, they think that if they speak about that, they won't have vote in Manitoba or they won't have vote in Quebec because Quebec received a lot of money from the equalization. But I said that in French in Quebec 5 years ago, that I'm not proud to be a Quebecers when we are a poor province. The goal must be to be a richer province and not receiving any money from equalization. So it is an unfair formula because that formula, when you look at the energy sector, the energy coming from oil and gas, it is part of the formula, but the energy coming from hydroelectricity, and in Quebec we have a lot of hydroelectricity, it is not part of the formula. So we need to change that formula. Only 7 economists in this country understand that. And that's an important principle in our constitution. So we're not afraid to speak about that. And we don't want to pander to every special interest group. And that's a big difference. And speaking about politicians and pandering, I know that you're fed up of that, and I must speak about supply management. I must speak about supply management because this is a big test for politicians. You know, we want to get rid of supply management. We want Canadians to pay half the price for dairy, poultry, and eggs, but also at the same time we'll be ready to give compensation to these producers to help them to do the transition toward a free market. And it is unfair for the taxpayers because they're paying an artificial high prices for these products, but also it is unfair for the producers under supply management. They cannot export their products. And we know that they're producing very good products, very good cheese, milk, and eggs, and we want them to be able to export like other farmers that are under supply management. So we need to change that. But it is a big test also for politicians. When I'm speaking about pandering, so if you cannot resist the pressure from the cartel, 13,000 dairy, poultry, and eggs producers, if you cannot resist the pressure of that cartel, how you will be able to resist pressures from other more important interest group? You won't be. You won't be able to resist. And when everybody are asking a privilege, there's, a lot of interest group can ask privilege for having, not competition in their sector, and they can ask for a legislation on that. They can ask for legal privilege in a legislation. So there's a lot of different special interest groups that are asking for different privilege and different goodies from the government at the expense of 37 million Canadians. So if you want to work for all Canadians, and that's why we are the People's Party of Canada, because we want to work for all Canadians and not for special interest group, you must be able to resist pressures from these special interest groups. And the Liberals, the Conservative, the NDP, they're not able. I'm the only one who want to speak for Canadian consumers. And, it's a little bit, not normal that all the other politicians in Ottawa, they're there to defend a cartel, a supply management cartel. So we will change that, but that's a big difference between us and the other political parties. We are the People's Party, and we are putting the people first. And speaking about pleasing some special interest group, and I want to speak about corporate welfare and what happened this week in Ontario, in Oshawa. So, that's a shame. I don't believe in bailouts. We don't. Why using your money and giving that to a big corporation? If a corporation is well managed and profitable, they don't need money from the government. If a corporation is badly managed and unprofitable, they should not have help from the government. Yeah, so what happened in Oshawa, it's a proof of that. We bail out GM, and now, what's happening? They're leaving. So we are taxing small business entrepreneurs in this country, and we force them to pay taxes to give that to a big corporation. So corporate welfare, it is not working. You cannot have a productive economy when you give money to corporation. The big one, the small one, the medium one, and the right policy and the fair policy, it is to abolish corporate welfare and lower taxes for every single entrepreneur in this country. So that will be a fair policy. And so now in Ottawa, the politicians, they are saying, we will do everything for helping GM to stay in Canada. But that's not the solution. What is happening in Western Canada, in Alberta and here, since 2014, the crisis in the energy sector is way tougher. It's tougher for you guys and for the economy here. So, but the federal government is not doing anything to help the energy sector. But they can do something. The Trudeau government can do something. They can only abolish the bill C-69. That's the bill who's putting a lot of pressure for everybody in Canada to have a long process, a long environmental process to look at all big infrastructure projects. So it's a bill, and with that bill, that's why we're not able to have private sector pipelines in this country. So if the Trudeau government want to help, they must have less regulation. They must abolish that bill, Bill C-69. But no, they want to do the opposite. So for us, we know that we cannot give money to every industrial sector in the economy. We don't believe in that. But we can have the right policies, the right economic environment for them. And that will start by having a shorter process for the environmental process for a big infrastructure project. It would be good for not only the energy industry, but it will be good also for the forestry industry and other industry that want to build big infrastructure in this country. So it's helping other corporation or giving money to big corporation. That's not the solution, and Canadians understand that. And actually, the entrepreneurs, they're proud. They don't want to wait for having a bailout from the government or having a big subsidies from the government. They're proud, and what they want lower taxes and less regulation. But we are the only party who speak about that. I like Andrew. Andrew is a good guy, you know, a great guy, nice smile, but you know, we have a lot of regional development agency in this country. The job of a regional development agency is to give money to corporations. We have one in Quebec, one in Ontario, one in Western Canada. But Andrew Scheer, they believe in corporate welfare. They want these regional agencies to be more efficient. So they want them to be managed by a politician from Quebec for the Quebec Regional Agency, a politician from Ontario for the regional Ontario regional agencies, because they want to be more efficient to buy votes and give money to the right businesses in their own province. And we don't believe in that. We want to abolish that, and having the right policies and lowering taxes to everybody, we can save $5 billion there. So let's say $5 billion and abolishing all these regional agencies. That will be the solution. You know, I had a question today about, Mr. Bernier, you want to abolish corporate welfare, it's okay, but also you want to reduce personal income tax. I said, yes. How are you going to do that? I said, we'll do it. That's it. Yeah, but that will cost money, and you won't be able to balance the budget, because also we want to balance the budget. So our personal tax plan is very fair and simple. Only two tax rates. One at 15% for people earning between $15,000 to $100,000. Another tax rate, 25% for people earning more than $100,000 a year. And for the poor, we need to help them. We want to increase the personal exemption at $15,000. So that's the amount if you earn less than $15,000 in Canada at the federal level, you don't pay any income tax. So instead of having 5 tax brackets, we'll have only 2. But that will be a cost. That will be a cost for the federal government. And yes, if we want to balance the budget in 2 years, we need to do other bold reform. And we have a big list of reform that we need to do. So privatization of Post Canada, Canada Post, privatization of Canada Post. We can save a lot of money there. Get rid of the CRTC in telecom. We don't need a special regulator in the telecom industry. Do we have a regulator for the mining industry? Do we have a regulator for the steel industry? No. Why we are having a regulator only for the telecom industry? So we must abolish the CRTC in telecom. We can save some money. And also you know, I don't believe to give $600 million to the media. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know, we want the media to be independent, but what the Trudeau government is doing right now, they want the media to be more dependent of the government. So that's not the solution. The solution will be, if we want to help, I don't know, the newspaper and other media, the traditional media, we can do something very simple. But to do that, you need the courage to do it. And sometimes some politicians, they don't have the courage to speak about that. And it's simple. There's $1.2 billion that the federal government is giving to CBC. So there's a lot of money there that we can save. And I want the CBC, if they're so good, they can be like PBS in the state. And people will pay. People will pay for that. And you know, CBC, that's an unfair competition with other traditional media. Because if you go online, they have a lot of journalists online, and that's not their mandate. I want CBC to be back and following their core mandate in their legislation, and they're not doing that. You know, they're doing advertising, and at the same time, they're receiving subsidies from the government. But CTV and other broadcasters, they don't receive subsidies from the government, but also they have to compete for the advertising money. So it's unfair. We must stop that. So there's a lot of changes that we can do that and save money, and helping at the same time the traditional media. So that it is a fair solution, a solution that is fair for everybody, the traditional media, the non-traditional media, and also fair for the taxpayers. So let's do it. Yeah, and I want to speak, we can save money also in foreign aid. So the Trudeau government, they're giving billions of dollars to other countries to help to fight climate change. So that's not the role of the federal government to do that. We are giving also billions of dollars in foreign aid to help other countries to build roads in Africa. That's not our role as a government. We can save between $3 to $5 billion a year, and we have to stop to do that. But yes, we believe it's something happen if we have a humanitarian crisis of a natural disaster. Yes, we must be there. We must help other countries, and we will be there. That's the Canadian value, so we'll be there. But it is not our role to help fighting climate change or building road or putting money in an infrastructure bank in China to help developing other roads or bridge in other countries. But the Trudeau government is doing that right now because it's all about pandering to some countries to be sure to be elected and having a seat at the Security Council at the UN. So for us, the UN, it's a dysfunctional organization. And we don't want to have a seat at the Security Council at the UN, and we won't spend any money in other countries to have a seat over there. So, but we can save a lot of money there. But I know Andrew, and he didn't speak about that. But he wants to lower your taxes, but we don't know how he will do it and what he will cut. So I don't know, they're not ready to speak about bold reform. And for us, there's no taboo subject. We need to discuss what needs to be discussed for having a freer and a more prosperous country. And we need to respect the Constitution. So I think that's why if we do all that, we'll be very busy, but at the same time, we'll be able to have Canadians that are responsible, Canadians that are freer, and a government in Ottawa that will respect the Constitution. And for me, respecting the Constitution, it is important. We have a great Constitution. I'm coming from Quebec. And in Quebec, we have two national sports. Like you, hockey, and also referendum. And I don't want another referendum. And if you respect the Constitution, you won't have another referendum. If you don't interfere in provincial jurisdiction, you won't have another referendum. And you know, the father of our Constitution, they did a great job. And they believe in the subsidiarity principle. They believe that the best government is the government near the people. So that's why, you know, the provincial government, they have certain power, certain jurisdiction. The federal government is in charge of more national interests, like the money, like the Bank of Canada, like the security, the defense, so the free trade. So everything that is a national interest, it is in the jurisdiction of the federal government. But politicians usually, they like to interfere in provincial jurisdiction, again, to try to buy votes. I'll give you an example. The infrastructure program. So the Chrétien government decided, because they had surplus, to build an infrastructure program to help provinces to build road or bridge in different provinces. And first, if the federal government is having too much money and having surplus, it's because we are taxing too much Canadians. We must lower our taxes. That's the first reflex. So, but they want to have an infrastructure program to be sure that if there's a priority in a province, to say the federal government will be there and will help you to build a road in your province. So, you know, we must abolish that and save money, and with the money that we save, we will lower taxes to every Canadian. And if in Quebec we have a project to build, I don't know, a road, I don't want you from Manitoba to pay for that. And I don't want Quebecers to pay for a bridge in BC. So let's lower our taxes, and the provincial government, they will have room and they will be able to raise their taxes for their own responsibility. So the Constitution is well done. So you have some responsibility there, but I want them to have the means to their responsibility, being able to achieve what they need to achieve. And that's why at the federal level, we will lower our taxes. Provinces, if they want to build a specific infrastructure in one province, they will be able, if they don't have enough money, to raise their taxes. So that, like that, it will be fair for everybody. Quebecers won't pay for a bridge in BC, and people in Manitoba won't pay for a road between Quebec and Montreal. So that's respecting the Constitution, but at the same time, that's respecting the taxpayers. And I think that they don't want to speak about that. So that will be very interesting in the next federal election, because we'll be the only party to speak about the real reform that we must do in this country for a freer and a more prosperous country. And I count on you to help us for that also. As you know, we have a platform, and I'm very happy as a politician, because it's my best time in politics right now. There's no pandering, and we have ideas and values, conviction that we believe in, and I'm out there speaking about that, and a lot of people like you, they understand it. And we are speaking not to the emotion of Canadians. We are speaking with them and we want to have a dialogue. We want to have a real discussion about the reform. So we're not afraid to speak about maybe big reform, and maybe we can have negative ads against us in the beginning. But that's why it's important to speak about what we believe before an election, during an election, and after an election. And like that, you'll have the mandate to do the reform that you want to do for a better country. But speaking about having a platform, the Conservative Party of Canada still has no platform. So they don't know what they believe in. Do you know why they don't have a platform? Yeah, because, first of all, they're still too busy to do polling and focus group. So they want to be sure to please a lot of people. So that's not about their conviction. That's about having policies that will give them more vote with a segment of voters, and that's about to please a province, to be sure to have vote in a certain province. So they're not ready with their platform. They will be ready when they will, just before the election, because they need a lot of time to do a lot of polling. But for us, we don't need to do that. What we like in politics, we are speaking about what we think is right for this country. And if we have the right solution, the free market solution, we must be out there and to speak about that with passion and with conviction. And like that, we'll be able to win an election, to have more support. And we'll gain a lot of respect also from our opponent. So for us, politics, it's not about consensus. When you speak about consensus, you want to please everybody. So the freedom ideas, it's idea based on the principle of the Western civilization, the Western civilization values. So we must be proud about that and speak about it. So our approach, it's very different. We are ready for debate. I hope they will. And speaking about debates, as you know, the People's Party of Canada will be able to debate during the national debate, during the election, during the campaign next year. Because they ask us there's 3 criteria for a political leader to be able to debate during the national debate, during the election. And a political party must at least be able to meet 2 of these 3 criteria. So the first one is to have, how they wrote it, to show that you are able to elect more than 1 candidate. And I think we'll be able to do that. And the other criteria is to have 1 candidate in every riding in this country. So we'll have time and we'll be able also to have 1 candidate in every riding in this country. So I can assure you that we will be there to debate, and I'm looking forward to that. But before the debates, we need to work together and to be sure to have more Canadians that are supporting our ideas. And I want them to know that we are a kind of a free market political party, or a true conservative small c political party, or a political party that believes in individual freedom and personal responsibility. And so we have a coherent platform based on our 4 principles: individual freedom, personal responsibility, fairness, and respect. And I just want to thank you. And so for us, we know what we believe in, and we are ready to fight for that. But 2 weeks ago, Andrew Scheer was in Toronto, and he did a full interview with the Sun, the Toronto Sun over there. And it was very interesting what he said to the Sun. He said that the Liberal Party of Canada has moved so far from the left that, and I quote, Andrew Scheer said that, we have an opportunity to say that we are a pragmatic, centrist party with room for lots of different views on lots of different issues. So, yeah, pragmatic, centrist, lots of different views. So, no principle, no coherent vision for the future of our country, only pandering to special interest group, and at the end, whatever you want, Andrew Scheer will give you. So that's not us. We are a principled party. We have conviction, and we know that the freedom ideas are the best ideas for our country, and we will speak about it, and we won't do any compromise with our ideas. So that's a big difference between us and the conservative. And yes, some people ask me, Maxime, I like you, I like your ideas, I like your party, but I don't like Justin Trudeau. And if I'm voting for you, Justin Trudeau will be elected. So the question of devise the right, you know, and like that we are helping Trudeau to be elected. I want to answer that. And I want to give you the real facts. Scheer, for me, is a nice guy, but he's a weak leader. And let's look at the facts. Despite Trudeau's disastrous trip in India, despite the huge deficit, we were supposed to have only a small deficit of $10 billion, and now every year it's $20 billion. We were supposed to balance the budget in 4 years. That was Trudeau who said that. Now there's no date for balancing the budget. The budget was supposed to balance itself. We know that it is not happening. So despite that, despite the attack on small businesses, as you know, they wanted to raise the small business tax. Despite the carbon tax, you know, and we don't want a carbon tax in Canada. Despite the illegal migrants crisis,
That's a big deal.
yeah, despite all of that, Trudeau is still ahead in the poll. With Bernier, and Trudeau is still ahead in the poll for the last year and a half. So since Andrew Scheer is the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, he is always behind, and he was always behind Justin Trudeau by 6 to 8 points in the polls. So when I was with Andrew Scheer, he was not able to beat Justin Trudeau. When I'm not with Andrew Scheer, he's not able to beat Justin Trudeau. So that's the fact. So if we want to get rid of the liberal Justin Trudeau government, Canadians will understand that we are the only real small c free market alternative and principal alternative. And we have the momentum right now. People like our ideas. We are able to have 33,000 members in only 3 weeks. That's something. We are able to build this party because of you. So we have a momentum. And I can tell you that people are saying, okay, Maxime, yeah, Andrew Scheer is not able to beat Justin Trudeau. We understand that. So you want us to vote for you? Yes, okay. But you have a year to build a party. You won't be able to be competitive. That's not true, actually. If you look at what we did the last 2 months, we are doing what we need to be done to be able to be competitive. We have the great ideas. We have writing association in a lot of writings right now. We have the right people with us, and I count on you to find the right candidates. So we'll be able to be there. And also I want to thank you because we are able to raise money. We're not able to give you a tax receipt, but we are able to raise money. And up to now, we raised enough money for us to have a headquarters in Ottawa with 4 people working full-time, plus all the volunteers across the country that are helping us to build this country. So yes, I think we can be like Macron in France. And I just want to let you know, I'm not a socialist. I'm not a socialist. And the People's Party of Canada, it is not a communist party. So if you don't like the name, it is not a communist party. It's a real party for the people. But speaking about Macron in France, he left the Socialist Party 11 months before the presidential election. And he created his own party at that time. And after 11 months, he was and he is the president of France. So yes, things can happen. Things can happen, and I believe that together, if you stick to what we believe in, if we are true to our principle, if we are answering questions when journalists ask questions, because I think Canadians are fed up with politicians not trying to answer the question. For me, when they ask a question, I answer that. And if they don't like my question, it's okay. And if Canadians don't like my answer, it's okay also. It's okay also. I prefer to have a lot of support. But, you know, we don't need 100% of the population on our side to win an election. And if we stick on what you and we believe, we'll be very successful. And I believe... And another difference with us and the old parties is we believe in people. We don't believe in big fat government. We don't believe in a politician in Ottawa tell you what to do with your own money or a bureaucrat in Ottawa. We think that you know better what to do with your own money in your own pockets. And we believe in individual. We have faith in people. We have faith that you have the ability, the dignity, and the right to make your own decisions and determine your own destiny. So for us, that's important. We don't try to change the way that you are doing what you want to do in life. We don't want to influence your behavior. You know better than us. We just want to give you more freedom, and we'll be able to do that having a smaller government in Ottawa, a limited government in Ottawa, a government that will respect you as a human being, as a citizen, because when you're a citizen, there's some responsibility with that. So that's why when we speak about individual freedom, there's responsibility with it. And we know that yes, you can be free, but you are responsible also. You are responsible for your good actions, but also for the bad one. And that's a free market society. That's a Western civilization society. And I'm very proud to be Canadians. And I want this country to be like that in 20 years from now. I don't want us to have the big challenges that they're having in Europe right now with their immigration system and their refugees over there. You know, this country welcome immigrants. We build this country with immigrants. And people are welcome to our country. But we don't believe in illegal immigration. So that's important. And people who are crossing the border in my own province in Quebec, they're not real refugees. And it's not me who's saying that. It's the immigration department. The immigration department in Ottawa said that 48% of people who are crossing right now the border in Quebec to come to Canada as refugees, they will have to go back in their own country because they're not real refugees. So I understand that, you know, your life is not in danger if you live in the state of New York. But we want to help the real refugees. We want to help the real people who are staying in refugee camps in another country. So that's unfair for them. These people that are crossing the border right now, they're jumping the queue, and it's unfair. We must stop that, and we must sit with President Trump and having an agreement with them to find a way to solve that solution with the safe third-party agreement. Reopen that agreement, and we'll do that. But also, we are welcoming immigrants because we need immigrants in this country to fulfill the economic needs of our country. So we need, yes, we need immigrants, but we need more economic immigrants. We need more talents. We need people that will help us to build this country. That will be good for the country, but also for that person, for this person. If somebody is coming to Canada with a job, usually the integration is easier. And we want them to share our Canadian values. We want them to share our culture. We want them to share our history. So, and actually, that's happening right now in our country. And I want to be sure that in the near future, our country will be like that, and we won't have any challenges with the integration of our immigrants. But to do that, we just want us to have a pause and having the same numbers of new Canadians and new immigrants that we had when we were under the Harper government, around 250,000 new Canadians a year. We're the only party to speak for a little bit less immigrant, but having a ratio of more economic immigrants. So that's our position. But all the other parties, they want always more and more and more. So why not have a pause and being sure that everything is okay, and after that we'll look what we need. You know, now we are having 310 immigrants a year in Canada, and the Trudeau government, they want to go to 310,000 new immigrants a year in Canada, and the Trudeau government, they want to go up to 350,000 new immigrants in this country in 2 years from now. And they received a report, the Barton report, and the report asked for 450,000 new Canadians. So it's 40% more. So can we just have a pause and going back of what we did in the past and being sure that we have an immigration system that is sustainable for our country, but also that we stop illegal immigration in this country. So that's why we have a strong position, and we're ready to debate that with the other political party. And I think Canadians are asking for that. Actually, saying that we represent 49% of the population. 49% of Canadians said in the last poll that they want less and fewer immigrants. So I think what we are doing, it's pretty reasonable. And actually in Quebec, in my own province, the new government there, that was part of their platform. They said, you know, in Quebec we have 50,000 immigrants a year, and the political party, like CAQ, like Coalition over there, said, you know, we want 40,000, 10,000 less. And they have been elected, and nobody said in Quebec that the CAQ and M. Legault, they're racist. No, they had that debate, a very good debate in Quebec, and that political party was elected. So I think it's time to have that debate in Canada, and not only in Quebec, but all across the country, and we are ready for this debate, and I'm looking forward to debate with Justin Trudeau and Andrew Scheer on that. So I'm asking you something tonight. It's going very well. We have a lot of support, and I want to thank you to support us. But we need to grow our party. We need to grow our movement. And you need to be out there and to speak to your friends, to speak to your colleagues, to speak to your family about our ideas. And you can go on our website, thepeoplespartyofcanada.ca, and you will see our platform. So everything is there. We have the platform. The platform is ready. That will be the platform for the election. So now we just need to build the party and having candidates everywhere and having more members. So I count on you. I need you. I cannot do that alone. And my promise to you is that Maxime Bernier won't change. And I'm here for the long run. I'm here because I like what I'm doing. And I like to speak about our values. And I'll be with you. And I need you. I need you here in Manitoba, I need you in Quebec, I need you in other provinces. And so let's work together to build a freer and a more prosperous country. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Could you take questions from the audience?
Yeah. I'll take some questions. Let's have a kind of a Q&A for 10 minutes. And Bill, you have a mic? Yeah, so
Yes.
we'll have a Q&A. So who's going to be the first one to ask the question? Yeah.
Thank you. Very, very admirable what you're doing, Mr. Bernier.
Thank you.
What is your position on Bill C-16?